Good? All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. The notice requirement of the open public meeting law has been satisfied with respect to this reorganization meeting, specifying the time, date, and location, including the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board, filed with the clerk of the city of Paterson, posted in City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. Notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act addressing the effect of coronavirus measures on the next public meeting, consistent with the coronavirus-related restrictions of Executive Order Number 107, given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020 by Governor Philip D. Murphy. The Board of Adjustment of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10:4-8, commencing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the council chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street, Paterson, New Jersey, in-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling area code 973-321-1579, and when prompted to, you enter the meeting ID number 711-680-0071. With regard to the Board of Adjustment reorganization meeting of July 8th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. The public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson, www.patersonnj.gov, and following the email link for the meeting, www.patersonnj.gov/Board of Adjustment. So I welcome everybody. This is actually our first time back in chambers, but the public is still able to watch via the website and the channel, as well as call in on the number for the public portion of the matter. So it's it's more of a hybrid meeting this evening, and it's good to be back and to see everybody in person. And I'm happy to announce that we have 2 new commissioners which will be sworn in this evening. It's Commissioner Hector Barral and Commissioner Osvaldo Vega. So we're going to swear them in, but we're going to take them one at a time because I know they have family here and do a photo. So we'll start with Hector Barral. If you could please come over here. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, you're good. Thank you. All right, so please repeat after me. I, Hector Barral, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God. I do further solemnly swear that I will impartially and justly perform all of the duties of the office of Commissioner to the Zoning Board of Adjustment according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations and welcome, Commissioner. Hey, Commissioner, if you'd like to take a moment to get a picture with your family. All right, thank you. I, Osvaldo Vega, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God. I do further solemnly swear that I will impartially and justly perform all the duties of the office of Commissioner to the Zoning Board of Adjustment according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations and welcome, sir. Thanks. Take a moment with your family. I'm also pleased to announce that Commissioner Thaxton has been reappointed for another 4-year term. Welcome back, Commissioner Thaxton. And I'm also happy to announce that Commissioner Watkins is also now appointed for 4 years, and she is going from being an alternate to a regular commissioner. Welcome and congratulations. Next order of business is to adopt the calendar for the 2021-2022 year. Will someone please move the calendar? Okay, move.
Second.
Okay, so can we get a, I guess I got to pull the board. Secretary. Commissioner Dumas. Well, actually, you know what? You're actually right. Before let's withdraw that for a moment. Let's take roll. Commissioner Dumas. Commissioner Thaxton.
Present.
Commissioner Furman.
Present.
Commissioner Minato. Commissioner Rohim.
Present.
Commissioner Watkins.
Present.
Commissioner Arenas.
Present.
Commissioner Vega.
Present.
Commissioner Barral. For the record, we have 8 commissioners this evening. I called you, I marked you down. I called you. We have 9? Okay, yes. Okay, we got mark it down. We have 9 commissioners. I stand corrected. So if we could please move the calendar. So moved. Okay.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to pull the board. With regard to adopting the calendar for the 2021-2022 calendar year, Commissioner Thaxton,
Yes.
Commissioner Dumas, Commissioner Furman,
Yes.
Commissioner Minato,
Yes.
Commissioner Rohim,
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Arenas,
Yes.
Commissioner Vega,
Yes.
and Commissioner Morale. Next order of business is we need a court reporter to take care of each meeting and provide us with our minutes and transcripts when necessary. Do we have a motion or nominations with regard to a court reporter?
I nominate Ermelinda Lopez.
Nominated by Commissioner Thaxton, second Commissioner Watkins. Commissioner Dumas with regard to Amelinda Lopez being for the one-year term?
Yes.
Commissioner Thaxton?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Furman?
Yes.
Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
Commissioner Minato? Commissioner Arenas?
Yes.
Commissioner Vega?
Yes.
And Commissioner Brawl.
Yes.
The next order of business is we need a planner. Do we have any nominations for planner?
Commissioner Watkins make a motion to bring Mr. Gary back. Second.
So I understand, Commissioner Watkins, you made a motion to appoint Mr. Paparozzi as the planner for the 2021-2022 term?
Absolutely.
Okay. Commissioner Dumas, second it? All right, I'll pull the board. Commissioner Watkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Thaxton?
Yes.
Commissioner Bernardo? Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
Commissioner Arenas?
Yes.
Commissioner Vega?
Yes.
Commissioner Barral?
Yes.
And Commissioner Furman?
Yes.
All right. Just have one moment. Next order of business is, we need a secretary to assist and help run these meetings. Do we have any nominations for secretary? Was that Commissioner Dumas?
Second, Commissioner Furman.
All right. Commissioner Thaxton, with regard to nominate Margarita Vega as secretary
Yes.
for the 2021-2022 term. That's a yes. Okay. Commissioner Furman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Minato?
Yes.
Commissioner Vega?
Yes.
Commissioner Barral?
Yes.
Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
Commissioner Arenas?
Yes.
All right, the next order of business is, we need to appoint a chairman, at which time I'll hand over the meeting to the chairman. And in addition to the chairman, in case the chairman or chairwoman is unable to attend a particular meeting, either by scheduling issue or conflict, we will appoint a vice chairman or chairwoman. Do we have any nominations, or open the floor for nominations for a chairperson?
I make a nomination for Commissioner Thaxton to be the chair.
I second, Commissioner Watkins, second it.
Do we have any other nominations?
have permission to speak, to say something before we bring up any other nominations?
Sure.
So I sent an email out earlier, I don't know if everyone received it or not, and it was regarding the vice chair. I feel like this is the first time where we're meeting together. This is the first time where I'm meeting my colleagues here. And although I think that everyone in here could be competent to take that responsibility, I absolutely feel like it is too early for us to decide on something such as the vice chair to run this meeting in case of Chairman Thaxton's absence. And the reason I say that because I don't know, other than these meetings, I have never had the opportunity of speaking to any of my colleagues outside of this. I also feel like this is something where I need to get to know someone before I make whether it's a decision in their favor or not. I also feel like the meeting's agenda that came out yesterday at 7:38 p.m. was just not enough time for someone to go in, review the case, see what's going on, the projects that are going to be presented before us, and then make an educated, a vote, a reasonable and intellectual vote to give it. Now, they're going to present the project to us, we're going to see it, we're going to be able to listen in on whatever it is, but we're going on their word, and we're going on Gary's word that he's going to tell us that he had a chance to survey. But in order for me to vote for something, I feel like we need to be present in order to keep the community's best interest in mind, in order to keep the integrity of this board in mind. I feel like this one was rushed. And other than the nominations that we've just done, and including Chairman Thaxton's nomination, the vice chair, I think, is too early to vote on. And I don't know if you would just guide me, Mr. LaRocca, to see if I can not vote on the vice, when it comes to the vice chair.
So, right, so then if I understand correctly, right now there's a nomination on the table for chairman with regard to Chairman Thaxton. There isn't a second at the moment. In about a moment, I'm going to close the floor as to chairman, and it will go to vote. You don't have an issue with regard to the chairman vote, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Once that is done, then I was going to open it for nominations for vice chair.
Correct.
At that time, I assume we will get a nomination, but you could also make a motion that we not vote on vice chair this evening and we readdress it, because although we do need a vice chair, it's not as crucial as not having a chairman to operate the meetings, and then we will see how the motions play out.
Thank
All right?
you.
If your motion fails and there's a nomination, we go forward. If your motion to put that part off passes, whether there's a nomination or not, we would hold off in that regard.
Thank you.
All right? So, having said that, do we have any other nominations for chairman? All right, no other nominations. We're going to pull the board with regard to the nomination for Commissioner Thaxton to be the chairman for the 2021-2022 term. Commissioner Baralt, with regard to the nomination for Chairman Thaxton.
I second it.
Do you vote in favor of that?
Yes, I vote in favor of it.
Commissioner Vega?
Yes.
Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
Commissioner Arenas?
Yes.
Commissioner Thaxton? I didn't think you were going to vote no. Commissioner Minato?
Yes.
Commissioner Furman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes.
All right. So now would be the time that we would take nominations for a vice chairperson. And we also heard that there may be a motion to put that vote off for this evening, but I'm going to open it up first for the nominations.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Rohim as vice.
I'll second that.
So Commissioner Arenas nominated Commissioner Rohim. I missed the second. Who was the second?
Mr. Vega.
Commissioner Vega seconds that.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, and Commissioner Romano, do you, well, first of all, is there any other nominations for vice chair? Commissioner Dumas nominates Commissioner, I didn't hear you at the end, I apologize. Freeman? Do we have a second?
Commissioner Watkins, second.
All right. Do we have any additional nominations or any motions at this time?
I'd like to make the motion to move the matter.
To carry it until the next meeting?
Yes.
Do we have a second to the motion to carry the vote on vice chair to the next meeting? You seconded, Commissioner Dillon? Okay. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do the motion to move first, because it doesn't make sense to do the other motions if it's gonna get adjourned.
Can we have, besides Commissioner,
Mr. Lor, oh,
can we have any?
can I just say something,
discussion?
Mr. Lor?
Discussion?
It's, can we make two motions on the same thing?
What do you mean?
We made a motion, she made a motion to nominate a vice chairman, and also a motion to close the vice chairman. Or actually, at least table it.
And I understand the concern, except I think her motion was just, she seconded the motion just to not vote on it tonight, so everybody can make it. So that's why I think it's a little different. If it was a motion not to have a vice chair, for example, I would agree with you 100% that it would cancel each other out. All right, so with regard to the motion to carry the vote as to vice chair until the next regular meeting, I'm going to poll the board. Commissioner Furman? So your votes are no as to the motion to adjourn? My vote's not. Okay. Commissioner Rohim?
No.
Commissioner Vega?
No.
Commissioner Barral?
No.
Commissioner Monaro? Commissioner Arenas?
No.
Commissioner Dumas? Yes. Commissioner Watkins? I'm sorry, oh.
No.
Commissioner Thaxton?
No.
Okay, so we're going to proceed to vote. I am going to do the vote in order of the nominations. Obviously, each commissioner could only vote for one candidate. All right, so just give me a moment to set it up. All right, with regard to the nomination for Commissioner Rohim to be vice chairman, how do you vote, Chairman Thaxton?
Yes.
Commissioner Dumas? Commissioner Furman as to Commissioner Rohim?
No.
Commissioner Minato as to Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins?
Can I make a statement before I vote, please?
Sure.
I've said it once, I've said it twice. I'm concerned
So right now, the votes for,
Vote is yes for,
but we're on Commissioner Rohim, so
not
that,
Rohim.
so your vote's no right now for
Okay.
Rohim, okay. Commissioner Arenas?
Yes.
Commissioner Vega?
Yes.
Commissioner Barral?
Yes.
So it's 6 in favor of Commissioner Rohim, 3 against. We don't need to have the vote as to Commissioner Furman. Congratulations, Vice Chairman Rohim. At this time, I'm going to hand the meeting over to Chairman Thaxton. We don't have the resolution, so we'll leave that alone for right now. I'm going to hand it over to him, and I'm going to step out for one moment.
Yeah, yeah. At this time, nominations for attorney to the board is open.
I nominate Mr. Marco Ricardo.
I second it, Commissioner Watkins.
Motion made by Commissioner Rohim and second by Commissioner Watkins for Attorney Marco LaRocca. Going to pull the board at this time. Commissioner Dumas. Yes. Commissioner Furman.
Yes.
Commissioner okay. Commissioner Monaro. Commissioner Rahim.
Yes.
Commissioner Torres.
Yes.
Commissioner Vega.
Yes.
And
Commissioner Baralt.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Rao.
Baralt.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Did I get everyone? Oh, Commissioner Watkins. Okay. All right. We have 9 in favor, none against. Commissioner, Attorney Marco LaRocca is the board attorney for the year of 21-22. Could somebody get Marco? We're going to take a 5-minute recess.
is pre-existing. Cannot be increased.
A two-family home is 30 feet. I get it. So they're saying here, the lot is pre-existing at the 25 feet and cannot be increased to a two-family house, basically.
A two-family house is no, it's a two-family house.
Oh, so a two-family house is
Yeah, no parking was available.
the site inspection. Additional comments will be made.
Este es uno y este es el otro. El otro I think is
So we are?
use business is not permitted. I can't, I obstruct the setback 3 feet. They're proposing 1.3. They're almost all violating all this.
That's what I understand, like, so obviously they put this in front of us. They tell us what our
What the ordinance are.
ordinance is, and then
Mr. Maricanda, are you ready? Okay. Okay.
Este es este es el animal. El que va a hablar ahora. ¿Qué es? Yeah. To bulk variances.
Where's the agenda?
You got it there.
Oh, this is it? Okay. They're pissed. They're pissed. He says what happened. Charles. I was on Charles. They wanted Maggie and Gary out completely. They ran me down for 2 weeks. He did. 2 weeks. Yeah. I mean, I told him, I said, look at the board. Look at the board. Mr. Maricanda, you ready?
Yes, sir. Ready to proceed. Which matter will be heard
30
first?
Warren Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to appear before you in person again. Congratulations to all the new commissioners, as well as the reappointments of staff and chairman and vice chair. We're here on behalf of 30 Barnes Street LLC. It's Alan Mariconda, 726 Market Street, Paterson. This is an application in the R2 zone, and we're seeking site plan and bulk variances with respect to the construction of a 3-story, 2-family residential dwelling. We'll be calling Mr. Evans as our architect planner, and the applicant is also present as our second witness. I'd like to call Mr. Evans as our first witness.
Yes, I do. Matthew Evans, architect planner, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
Mr. Chairman, we stipulate Mr. Evans as an architect planner?
Yes.
Thank
Very much. Mr. Evans, you had an opportunity to prepare the site plan with respect to this application.
Yes.
Could you give us an overview, first of all, of the existing conditions on the site and what the applicant proposes on that site?
Okay, presently the site is a 25 by 100 lot. It's vacant, and we're proposing a new two-family house in an R2 two-family zone.
Okay, and would you give us an overview of the lot dimensions and the proposed new construction?
Okay, this is typical for these 25 by 100 lots we've proposed in the past, and some which are permitted on 25 by 100, but in this case, we're in the R2 zone where the minimum is 5,000 square feet, and we're looking for pre-existing condition of 2,500 square feet.
Chairman. Marco, do we have the blueprints for this project? Or the drawings?
I think, Chairman, the commissioners don't have the plans because of, I guess they're in the zoning department. You know?
I presume that the file was coming over because we were in person, so, but I could pass out one or two plans if possible. I don't know if you want to proceed that way.
I'd like to get a copy, please.
I can give you my copy, and you have a
We
copy.
each have one, so I mean,
Or can we get the copy on the email so we can see it on our phone?
you do have them, I assume. I don't know. They were. I'll check to see. I would think that maybe in anticipation of a virtual, they might have been emailed, Gary, perhaps.
Yeah, the only thing we received was the planner report, not
Only
the,
the planner's report.
not the drawings.
Oh, okay.
I'll take it, I'll do it.
I think in the past practice, Mr. Mariconda, I think the secretary was emailing out the electronic copies
Right,
because they were emailed, I guess, to Maggie.
Right, on
The only email copy I got was Mr. Evans' revision.
Right.
Okay.
Revised plan, right?
Yeah.
The 11421, was it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, Mr.
okay.
Evans.
Mr. Maricondo, were the taxes paid on this property?
Yes, they're verified. We provide email copies as well to the staff email.
Commissioner Rohim, I don't know if you want to.
I can distribute at least one more if you wish. I don't know if Marco has.
Is that the new one? Let me see if that's the revised one. Make sure it's revised. Let me see that. Let me keep going. Yeah, good.
I have one more hard copy if you want to take it out. Thank you.
I would like to see that, please. Yeah.
Well, everyone normally gets a hard copy of the plan, and we were under the assumption, of course, that the entire files were being brought over for a live meeting. Matt could possibly.
I don't have the ability to email. I don't have it on my phone. What?
Well, we're trying to accomplish that. Normally, the staff brings 15 copies of the plan to the meeting. Sean, you don't have a copy of it, do you?
I'm going to send it.
No, I don't have a copy.
You got it? You got the PDF? So email it to me.
All right, my client has the PDF, so I think we're gonna be able to accomplish it.
You got both?
Mr. Mariconda, is it, attorney?
Yes.
Is this property next to a one unit, like, it's an empty lot right now, right?
Correct.
There's a two-family house on the side.
Mr. Evans is going to testify about the surrounding properties. I think probably it's best if we wait until we're ready to proceed,
Okay.
fully. But if you wish, Matt, to answer that off the record informally, we can, Mr. Chairman, or do you want us to wait? Okay, Matt?
Well, apparently, you want me?
One of the commissioners had a question about the adjoining or neighboring lots, what's contained there.
Apparently, it's a multifamily, either a 2 or a 3 family adjacent.
There's also, like, a one-unit lot there, right next to it, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. We have the site location map shows we're lot 6, and then there's lot 7 is 2,500, along the right side is 50 by 100. 50 by 100?
You know what the structures are in this case now? Yeah, I guess we need one,
Do I send this to Gary?
Yeah, I guess so. Gary, do you want us to send it to you now that we have it, or?
No,
Oh,
no, for the
For the
email.
rest of the commissioners, the email of the plans?
All right.
To Marco, yep.
Continue, Mr. Maricano.
Yes, sir.
Continue with your.
Pardon me?
Continue.
Okay, so you want Mr.
And
Evans to
he'll just,
continue with his testimony?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Just let him complete the sending.
Okay, I sent it to Marco. so-
Okay. All right. It may be, in terms of the question that just was raised, Matt, are you familiar with the adjoining parcels in terms of what's contained there? I know that's out of order for your testimony, but if you can try to accommodate that?
Yeah, so there's a mix of, there's a condominium association, multifamily, across Caldwell. I'm sorry, of course, on the other side of Barnes. And then there's a mix of 2 families and multifamilies in the area. It is in the R2 zone, but it's adjacent to industrial zone. But this pocket here is residential 2-family zone.
Okay. All right. So if you wish, could you proceed to describe the plan design, then we'll address the variances in terms of the site plan.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we have a standard 2-family. It's 1810 by 65. It has a lower level, which has 2-car garage, unfinished storage and a powder room, laundry room, and mechanicals on the lower level. We have the first floor, which is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit with an open living and dining and kitchen area, so that's a large open area. And they meet the minimum requirement of 1,100 square feet for each unit. We have the 3rd floor, which is consistent with the 2nd, and that has also an open living, dining, kitchen area, and it has laundry, mechanical also on that floor. So the first floor of residential uses the laundry room and the ground floor, and the second floor, or the 3rd floor, really above the first unit, has the laundry mechanical independent. So they all have their own utilities, separate utilities. And also the 3rd floor has a nice open stair which connects to the living, dining, kitchen.
Okay. In terms of the variances that are created, you've touched upon the lot size, but in your estimation, that's fairly standard for that streetscape?
Yeah, so I think we updated the table based on the planner's report, and we show the variances requested. I believe 2,525 is existing condition. The front yard setback is 20 feet, and we are proposing 10 feet, which is consistent with the neighborhood. As you can see on this site plan, we have the building to the left is a little over 10 feet, and the one on the right of ours is a 1-story frame dwelling, is about a couple feet off of the property line. So we're consistent with the setbacks of the neighborhood, and we also, looking at a side setback variance of, we have 10.87 is required, we're proposing 6.2. Based on the lot width is 25 feet. This is consistent with many houses that are being built. Trying to meet that requirement would really make it structurally obsolete to construct.
And essentially would render this vacant parcel, undersized parcel,
Yeah, it would-
unbuildable,
Yeah,
essentially.
unlivable.
Yeah,
It's buildable, but it's unlivable.
right.
At the lot coverage, we're 9% over on the lot coverage. And so that's not terrible because the fact that, you know, we do have an undersized lot and we're maintaining pretty close to that 40%, which is consistent.
Our lot coverage is still under 50%. There's some open space in the rear.
Yes, we have a nice large 25 by 25, about 625 square feet of open space. And then the parking is required 4 spaces. We have 2 spaces in the garage.
Which is, I would assume, in fact, more than some of these the other 2 families in the area?
Yes, it says we have on-site parking.
Right. So each unit would have a space, or they would have to work those 2 spaces, either with an owner-tenant in some arrangement?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The exterior of the building, did you describe what the exterior setup would be for you? The design?
Yeah, we have sheet A2, shows the elevations. We showed mix of materials. It's similar, going to be similar in the materials the developer had done previously in the neighborhood off of Grand Street. I think it was at 30 Grand? 30 Grand Street. There's a similar, but it's a townhouse design. So if you've seen that, you'll see the materials are consistent with what we've developed in the neighborhood. Then we have brick, we have siding, and we have a large bay window above the garage. We also show as one question was about the attic plan.
Right.
So there's just a little hatch, a scuttle to get up there for the mechanicals for the 3rd floor unit. So there's a small plywood deck that would only be for maintenance purposes of the unit.
Okay. And just from an overall planning perspective, even though we do not have a use variance, from a planning perspective, the urgency to fill in vacant lots, how would you describe that in terms of one of the requirements of the master plan and the zoning ordinance of the city?
I think this would satisfy the master plan and the fact that we are providing compatible housing for the zone and parking, open space, and met the requirements as best we could, consistent with the lot size.
And the ability to eliminate an infill lot, and how is that looked at from the master plan and zoning ordinance?
Yes, that's one of the goals of the master plan, is to create infill housing on these vacant lots and abandoned lots, and it's bringing new ratables to the city and the neighborhood.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Evans, at this time. Yes, sir. I'm sorry?
You didn't get it? M. LaRocca, is it? Hold on. Let me get it. I just want to make sure it went out. All right, let me resend it then.
I mean, you could proceed, I just.
Okay, no, we'd like to make sure he's wrapped up on that. That does conclude his testimony, subject to Mr. Paparazzi and the board's
Gary.
questions.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Evans is on the
It's
phone.
mlarocca@yahoo.com?
I'll look there, that was my personal email, that's why I wasn't looking, but yeah, that's fine.
Oh, it's okay, you got it?
Well, no, I'm gonna look right now.
Okay.
I'll forward it to the other ones.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just didn't look there. I got it.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Evans, you just testified that the attic space is just going to be mechanicals for the second floor apartment? Or the
Yes.
third floor apartment? Yes.
It's low. It just has the ability, it's almost like a crawl space. You're not really able to stand up except for the center of the area. So it's basically just to have ductwork, mechanicals. So we show the plywood deck access, and it's basically 6 foot is the highest point. 6 feet is the highest point underside of the ridge. So from 6 feet, it goes down to 0. So it's really a small,
Is it going to be finished?
unfinished. It's
Okay.
just going to have the mechanicals.
Okay. On your zoning chart, Mr. Evans, you have one side, 3 is the minimum, and you're proposing 3.1. But I think on your plan, on your site plan, you have 3.2 on the other side, on the right side, on the north side. So if you have 3.2, the other side's got to be 3.0. Just a housekeeping.
Right, 3.1, 3.1.
Oh, okay, so the 3.2 has to change, okay?
Yes.
Okay. And the 4 created variances are front setback, 20 required, 10 proposed. Side setback for both, 11 feet is required, 6.2 is proposed. Maximum lot coverage, 40% is the maximum, and 49.2 is proposed. And parking, 4 spaces are required, and 2 are proposed. Okay, we're good?
Yes.
Just one last question, and I'm not sure if you or Mr. Mariconda could answer it. If you look at the survey, the building to the left, to the south, do you have your survey?
Yes.
That's the Darmstaedter survey?
Yes. Yeah, the deck and the steps and the wall are over the property line. Now, the deck and the steps is 1.1 over. The wall is going to be even more. You're only going to be 3 feet off the line. Is there going to be an issue? Did the owner contact his neighbor, or was there any...
Mr. Leamy indicates that he could come up under oath that he has had amicable discussions with the neighbor about that.
Okay, all right. As long as you're aware when you do,
Right.
If the application is approved, when you do construction.
Correct.
Okay. That is all I have, Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Evans.
Any questions from the commissioners? Question?
Yeah, my question was more towards the attic. Actually, we don't have no plans on that or any elevations or,
It's just a plan that we added from the planners report that we show. Normally, we don't show it, but there's an unfinished space, and it's just going to be, from the top floor, you're going to have a little hatch that you can, with a ladder, you go up, and you're going to be able to, change, work on the mechanical unit, and that's really something that's doesn't go on maybe a couple of years, or if it fails or maintains, that would not be something a homeowner would really need to access that area. So, as I mentioned, it's 6 feet, and the like there. So, basically, what you have is 6 feet to the underside of the ridge, and what we do is put collar ties also. So it's going to be even lower than those framing. So it's really unusable space.
It's not livable space under the code. Mr. Evans?
It's unconditioned,
Right.
unfinished. It will have no habitability.
Commissioner Vega, there is a pull-down
Pull-down?
on that third floor apartment. There's a pull-down steps to get to the attic, so there's no separate entrance or issue like that.
thank you. Mr. Planner, like you said before, regarding the stairs or the exit from the other home right next to it, I'm confused of the lot, and I just want to make sure that I'm in the right lot here.
Might not have the survey. Since you don't have the file.
Yeah, I don't.
Here's the survey. It shows, I'm sorry, it shows the Seattle.
No more questions.
Any other commissioners?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. May I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
And I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit lost because I didn't have a copy of the plans in front of me. Is this an existing property?
Existing property?
Yes.
Existing standalone 2,500 square foot lot, yes.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Okay, Mr. Maricon, then your next witness, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Alimi? Pardon me?
Open to the public.
It's open to the public. To the members of the public, if you have any questions of the architect, Matthew Evans, who just testified with regard to his testimony, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Once again, to the members of the public, if you have any questions of Mr. Evans, the architect, please call 973-321-1579. Enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment, please.
Sure. It's going to take a couple minutes. Or you had only the personal one, right? Yeah. I guess it's the same one.
Marco, where would they call in?
We have no callers at this time, so we could proceed to the next witness. If somebody does call in, then we'll go back.
Mr. Evans will be available. Okay, I'd like to call Mr. Sinan Alimi.
Yes, ma'am. Sinan Alimi?
Sinan, you are the principal owner of 30 Barnes Street LLC, is that correct?
Yes.
And with respect to this project, you have been present and heard the testimony of Mr. Evans on your behalf,
Yes.
as well as my comments?
Yes.
And are you in full agreement with not only his testimony, but staff's comments in terms of our discussion?
Yes.
This is a lot that you purchased as a vacant lot, is that correct?
Correct.
And you have experience in developing residential housing in the city of Paterson?
Yes.
Quite a bit, fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the intention here is to build a two-family for residential rental units, is that right?
Correct. Yes.
And you've had discussions along the lines of Mr. Paparazzi's question about the adjoining parcel in terms of the property line?
Yes.
Do you have a thought on how that's going to be taken care of?
We already discussed that we were going to take down the wall, put a new vinyl fence in. And also his steps where they are, we're going to shorten them up and rebuild a new pair of steps for him.
So you'll be taking care of that for him?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. Yes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, subject to any questions.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Alimi, that was my only concern, and you answered that. I'm glad that you are working with your neighbor, and you're...
Have to be a good neighbor.
Yes, yes, I appreciate that, and that also helps your property because you're losing almost 2 feet, and you're short, you only have 3 feet off the house, so...
Correct.
So I think it's commendable for you to
Thank
do
you.
that, and I think that's worthwhile. Thank you. That's all I have for the applicant.
Any commissioners have questions?
No, I just see that the plan looks pretty good. I seen homes built the same way around the city of Paterson. Any other locations you have in city of Paterson?
We've built many. I mean, we finished one up on East 22nd Street, similar to this, 914 East 22nd Street, between 19th and 20th Ave. It came out nice. We did one around the corner here, 78 Grand Street. We built 3 houses on the corner of 9th Ave and East 23rd Street. Completed, came out nice. I mean, we can go down the list. Probably built about 50 two-family houses in Paterson.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Mr. LaRocca, could you open it up to the public, please?
I think he's with IT. There might be a call, or they're working on something. Just give him a minute to come back.
We're available.
Yeah, I think he's with IT. There he is.
Right.
Okay, to members of the public, if you have any questions with regard to the applicant, you could call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-001. Once again, the phone number is 973-321-1579, and when prompted to, enter meeting ID number 711-680-001. Let's give it a moment to see if anybody calls. In the meantime, Mr. Evans, can I ask you to send me the plans for the next application?
Just check your email, I sent.
The second applicant? Thank you.
Let me know if you don't get it.
We have no calls at this time. Let's give it another minute, though.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I just had one question. The first floor has half a bathroom. There's a reason for that?
Matt, you want to come up on that?
Say that again?
The first floor contains
First floor,
a
right
half bath.
by the garage, I guess, where the cars come in.
Yes.
There's a half bath. Is somebody
Yes.
going to live in that section there?
No, that's just a powder room for, let's say, if it becomes usable as a rec room or it's an accessory to the first floor unit. It basically, it's, used in conjunction with if you're doing laundry or anything down on that lower level.
And that's a,
So is this a laundry room or is it going to be half a bath?
It's half a bath, but there's also laundry facilities on that level, so it's more conducive for, somebody to work down there.
Okay, thank you.
We have no callers.
okay. Very good.
Sum up, Mr. Maricondo, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, essentially want just to wrap up by saying here we have limited bulk variances. The use is permitted. I think we've justified and provided to the board sufficient criteria for the granting of the bulk variances and site plan approval. In this case, this is an opportunity to provide new quality housing by an experienced developer, and the infill lot concept is very important in terms of generating new housing, and we believe that this lot conforms to many of the surrounding uses in terms of two-family houses in the two-family zone. Therefore, we ask your board's consideration for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioners, it's important to know first that this is an R2 zone and two families are permitted. And the lot is existing already at 25 by 100. It's not being created. So it's not really unreasonable to have a two-family in a two-family zone. And there are a lot of undersized lots in Paterson, which is conforming. Additionally, he's holding 3 feet and 3 feet, which is enough access for emergencies or to get from front to back. And the only issue of parking, but on a 25-foot lot, you can't really fit 4 cars. and have a fairly decent livable space. So in this case, I think the positive criteria really outweighs the negative of the 2 spaces short on the parking. And I really don't see any other issues with the application. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
At this time, can I have a motion, please? Oh.
Commissioner Furman, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead. Commissioner.
I'm a little bit concerned about the parking. This is becoming a really, really problem in our city of Paterson. But I think it's a nice application. Therefore, my vote is yes for approval.
We need a second. Excuse me. Commissioner? Commissioner, we need a second.
Commissioner Dumas, second it.
I'll pull the board. Commissioner Watkins.
Yes for approval.
Commissioner Minato.
Yes for approval.
Commissioner Barral.
I second. Yes, yes.
Yes. Commissioner Rohim.
Yes.
Commissioner Dumas. Commissioner Furman. Yes. Chairman Thaxton.
Yes. You have,
7 in favor. You have an approval.
you have.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Application. $217 East 24th Street.
Yes, again, good evening, Commissioners and Mr. Chairman, Alan Maricondo, office at 2726 Market Street, Paterson. On behalf of the applicant, on this application, we're seeking site plan as well as use and bulk variances. Again, we're in the R2 zone, obviously in a different part of the city, in the Riverside section of the city. This applicant has an existing 2-family, and it has a rear garage, which formerly had a structure above the garage, which was very dilapidated condition, more like of a loft type of structure, and the applicant got the necessary permits to remove that unsafe condition and restructure it so that it has an addition-like structure above the garage. And what he's looking to do is seek the board's approval this evening to create a small office space above that garage, which is an independent structure from the 2-family house. And the reason being, and the testimony will follow with Mr. Evans and the applicant, that one of the residents in that 2-family dwelling operates a very small staffing service type of business out of her residence, and she's in need of office space for herself only. It's not a retail or consumer business in any way, but with the onset of the COVID-19 crisis and the fact that she wants to try to remain working this small business out of her primary residential area, if you will, we're seeking the ability to have a home office there for one of the occupants of the residence, which is on the site. So that's, in general, what the application is about. Mr. Evans will be testifying as the architect planner.
Yes, I do. Matthew Evans, architect planner, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
We accept your credentials, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Evans, you heard my opening. Could you give us an overview of the site in terms of all existing structures and what the applicant proposes to do?
Okay, basically what we have is a 2-sheet submission. We're showing the proposed site plan, the first and second floor plan of the accessory building, and along with the elevations, front, rear, and side, site location plan, zoning table. Basically, what we have, we're not adding any new building to the footprint, but we have, the applicant has reconstructed the garage based on deterioration of it. He got permits to reconstruct it, and now, as part of that reconstruction, he's looking to seek approval for the office on the second floor.
Just let me interject a moment. The plan you're working off of is dated August 19, 2020, or is there a revision date on yours?
Well, I sent the 7-1 copy to Mr. LaRocca.
7-1?
Yeah, but I have another copy that would be updated based on the planner's questions on the property. Basically would consist of showing the existing conditions of the building. Basically what we have is a 2-bedroom apartment and a 3-bedroom apartment, and that would not change. Those are existing conditions.
Right.
Just to clarify, the whole occupancy of the site. So we have the existing 2.5-story frame dwelling, which, as mentioned, is an existing 2-family that would not be changed. So the garage, the first floor, would not change, but we do have the second floor, which we're proposing a powder room, and the stair would in the rear would occupy and have accessibility to the second floor, which is a small 542 square foot open office space. So looking at that sheet, we have the big front elevation, and I'm saying that it's existing because permits were pulled for the building. So that shows the existing front side elevations of the building. It's basically like a Dutch gambrel roof, which is like a barn type of design, and that's what the applicant has constructed. And we would be looking for variances for an office use in conjunction with one of the apartments that would not consist of being a home office, based on the ordinance being that a home office has to be directly connected to the unit itself. This would be a variation of that, which we'd be seeking relief based on what's there existing, and not being able to connect it in any reasonable fashion. We are making it the next best thing.
And that limited office space contains no area for visitors, retail services, nothing whatsoever of that nature.
Right, they're looking to do it as a home office, so if you have an apartment, you're not on top of people in the residence. You can be alone doing Zoom meetings, or consistent with business that would only be limited to home office type of business. It wouldn't have any clients coming in or any commercial activity. It's basically owner or tenant occupied for that space.
Okay. All right, so then we have existing conditions with the residential use. There's no expansion of the footprint of the residential house or the rear garage, is that right?
Right, the everything there is existing. We're just looking for approval for that second floor of the garage.
Okay. And we show some parking on site?
Yes, what we show is two spaces which are existing in the garage, and then we have 3 stacked spaces, which, based on the ordinance, we need to remove one of those spaces in order to conform. So we would have two in the garage, 2 stacked in front. So that would be 4 as opposed to 5 spaces. We show in the ordinance the area for office is 1 per 200 square feet. Now that's for a traditional office type thing, but if this is a home office and there'll be no visitors, I believe that it won't intensify the parking there, and there is ample parking on-site in the garage and in that large driveway. So it'd be more consistent with the 4 spaces needed, and we would have reducing that 1, 4, still seeking a variance, but I believe 4 and 4 would be more consistent with what the use would be.
So essentially, you agree with Mr. Paparazzi's comments regarding the parking variance?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, there's no signage proposed on that garage or addition at all?
No, there'll be no,
None.
nothing.
Okay. In terms of the limited impact of this particular office space, do you feel it has any impact in a negative sense to the surrounding area at all?
Well, I don't think it would be there'd be no negative impact based on the use being used in conjunction with the tenant. As you know, these days, it's more conducive to have some kind of home office operation where you're not where you're able to work at home without leaving or going to an office or someplace like that. So this is consistent with some of the needs that are present day people need for this type of use.
Okay. All right. That's all I have, Mr. Evans, at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, Mr. Evans, the work is already done on the garage. So you said that there were permits granted?
I believe so. The applicant will be able to testify to that.
Okay.
We referred to the fact that there was a dilapidated structure in the upper level which needed to be addressed.
Okay, the reason I'm saying this is because variances were created with the extension. So I don't know how the permits were granted. I think they might have missed that because it was just the garage and sort of an A-frame, and now it's 2 stories. So you have a side setback of 3 feet, and you added on 1.3. You have a rear setback of 3, and you added on to 2.7. The height maximum is 15, and you're close to 20. So there were several variances in connection with that permit. I'm surprised that the building department didn't pick that up.
Right.
Okay, well, that's already done. Now, you said the home is a 2-family. We have 3 stories with a full basement. So if you're saying it's 2-family, there are 3 meters there.
Well,
There were 3 meters on the house. During my inspection, they were there. So I don't know if it's a 3-family, but you have a 3-story with a finished basement.
well, there's one thing with a lot of 2 families, and it's hard to judge a 2-family when you see it because, a lot of times it's required to have a common area meter. So you have, let's say your first floor tenant has a meter, then you have the second floor tenant has a meter, then there needs to be a common meter for, let's say, site lighting or common use of the, let's say if there's a fire alarm, whatever, it has to be a separate meter. That's what PSE&G requires. So it's hard to really judge if by driving by or looking at houses, because I do it a lot and I see 3 meters, but they're legitimate 2 families. So, PSE&G requires that. So depending on the condition, I can't really go by that all the time. So basically going through it and measuring it and seeing how it actually consisted, it did not have a 3-family capacity.
You've gone through this house in its entirety yourself?
Yeah, we measured it and we
Right.
show the plans for it.
And what is there anything in the basement that's inconsistent with a 2-family, or?
No, it's all, common area, but that would be,
How do you describe the basement area? What are your designations?
it's basically utilities and laundry in connection with the first floor unit.
Storage area there too, earmarked, or no?
It has, it's a typical unfinished basement area, so.
So there
that's
could
what
be
it would
storage there as well?
Yes.
Okay.
What about the 3rd floor, Mr. Evans?
That's like, we show it as an attic plan. It's a sleeping area. It's a loft area. It's basically open space. It would not and it's directly connected to the second floor, so there's no separate entrance to that. It's basically internally connected, so it doesn't have the ability to become a third unit.
We'll certainly have Mr. Alimi address those two, Gary.
Okay, so then, I guess, Mr. Evans, is your testimony that the third meter is a landlord meter? Is that what your testimony is?
I would say that that's what it would be. The applicant could probably enlighten
Okay.
us a little more.
We'll get that from the applicant on the record.
Sure.
Okay, okay, so then, Mr. Evans, we'll go over the variances. It's use variance because the business is not located in the principal structure. And you have a variance created by the garage, which I just alluded to. The side setback is 3, and you added on to 1.3. The rear setback is 3, and you added on to 2.7. Accessory buildings supposed to have a maximum of 500 square feet, and you're over 500 square feet. The maximum height on the accessory building is 15 feet, and you're approximately 20. And parking variance requirement is 6, and you're providing 4.
We're in agreement with the variances.
Okay. Mr. Evans, can you just elaborate a little bit more on the proposed business, what it entails?
Yeah.
Because,
Mr. Alimi, of course, could probably describe it even better than us.
Okay.
But one of the tenants is an individual who runs a small, independent staffing agency, which she works strictly from her phone and her computer, and she had a desire to have the independence and privacy so it wouldn't interfere with her family time and so forth. But Mr. Alimi could also elaborate on that.
okay, because there are restrictions for home offices,
Yep.
which no non-resident employee, no customers, no
Right.
guests, okay?
All stipulated too. There'll be no public traffic whatsoever, no employees, nothing of that nature.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Evans.
Any commissioners?
Chairman, I have a question. Does the current garage have a bathroom or any plumbing done?
The garage,
Yes.
there's, we show a half bath on the second floor.
In conjunction with this small office space?
Yeah, so the bathroom would be a bathroom only for the office itself.
So there's no shower, nothing else? No.
No kitchen, no shower, nothing. It's basically just,
Just to accommodate the occupant of the business office when they're in that space?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. When you say small business, I mean, you're still going to have individuals coming in and out of this garage?
No, we absolutely testified not. This is
Okay.
one person operating her own little computer office space, that's it.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't have a plan with me. This is not the way I should, make any questions, but,
Again, that's not, that
Yeah.
burden respectfully shouldn't be on the applicant,
you said there was a half bathrooms upstairs.
Yes.
How many offices or how many rooms would this have again?
It's basically an open office. It has this a wing wall between it, but it's basically an open floor plan for the second
And how much square
floor.
feet again?
It's 542 square feet.
Okay. Regarding, I'm a little confused here. If we have ordinance and variances to not build over 15 feet, and we're over 20, or 20 feet here now,
Yeah,
why are we
I think
approving this?
the building department, when they issued permits, if permits were issued, they just missed it.
So that
Because
makes
there
it
are
hard for
four
us to make an
variances
approval.
created with that addition. Just with that addition, there were 4 variances created. The increase in rear, the increase in size, increase in height, and the allowable maximum square footage. So there were 4 variances just with that permit, assuming the permit was issued. We don't have that in our file. So maybe Mr. Alimi could testify to that as well.
We certainly will, and we stipulate that those are variances that we are seeking relief for this evening.
Well, I'll wait for his
Yeah,
answer.
well, I think what Commissioner Vega is alluding to is the fact that the permit should not have been issued. But because they created 4 variances, but.
Yeah, administratively, they looked at it as I believe, as an emergent situation, but you're right, they did create new bulk variances.
It's
yes.
possible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's possible. Okay.
I'll wait for his statement, sir.
Any other commissioner? Mr. LaRocca, open it up to the public, please.
To the members of the public, if you have questions of the architect with regard to his testimony he just gave, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-001. Once again, 973-321-1579. Enter meeting ID number 711-680-001. Let's give it a moment.
Commissioner Monaro, permission to ask a question.
Okay, so we direct the question, Mr. Evans.
I think this was more for Mr.
Alimi?
Mr. Miraconda.
Oh,
I'm sorry, okay.
It's okay. You said that the owner is gonna be is gonna run a small business, more like a temp agency?
She runs a staffing office, is the way it was described to me, and Mr. Alimi could elaborate on it. And what she does is she conducts business strictly within her computer and her phone system. And Mr. Alimi could elaborate on that. But there's no visitors, no activity on the site whatsoever, other than the principal herself.
So from my experience with temp agencies, most of the time applicants are walking in and out regardless of what it is. Most of them are not, don't have the facility to be able to use the applications and submit them online. So I'm just worried that people are going to be frequenting and visiting this office more often than being alluded to.
We will stipulate on the record, and Mr. Alimi certainly will under oath, that is not what we are presenting or envision. We understand your point, and I certainly am not an expert on temporary staffing agencies by any stretch of the imagination, but there'll be no visible signage, there'll be no other activity, and we expect that to be an express condition of the board if the board were to see fit to grant a motion for approval. But I certainly want you to hear from the applicant as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Mariconda?
Yes.
Yes. It says newly created variances. I see the use of business is not permitted. Do you know what type of business will be conducted there? Do you have an idea what she'll be doing in this office?
Yeah, as we've been discussing this evening, and again, the applicant would have even more knowledge than myself or Mr. Evans, but she's doing a typical home office computer function only for...
What's the nature of the business?
I call it temporary staffing because that's what I was told. Mr. Alimi will talk about that as well, because I'm not the applicant, nor am I have any direct relationship with the tenant.
Okay. I'll wait for it.
Sure, thanks.
Explanation.
Thanks.
And for the record, we have no callers.
Okay.
Your next witness, please.
Sure, Mr. Alimi.
Yes, ma'am. Sinan Alimi.
Mr. Alimi, you are the principal owner of 217 East 24th Street LLC, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. You've heard all our testimony this evening on
Yes.
your behalf?
Yes.
Discussions with the commissioners as well, along with
Yes.
Mr. Paparazzi's comments?
Correct.
And you're in agreement essentially with his comments as well?
Yes.
Okay. Again, I think the primary question for you to answer, because you are the owner with the most familiarity with the building, the basement is strictly a storage, laundry, and that type of area?
Correct. Utility rooms as well.
Keep your voice up.
Yes, it's a utility room as well.
Okay. And so there's no residential usage down there whatsoever.
No.
And you understand that if the board would grant an approval, the limited powder room bathroom on the small office space would have to stay just that, for that purpose?
Correct.
Okay. Could you tell us your process, what happened in terms of the condition that had to be rectified with permits from the building department?
Yes, when we purchased this house, this property, it was in bad shape. We had to change windows and some other things, dressed up the siding. We noticed the roof on the garage from the inside was caving in, so we applied for a permit to rebuild the roof. And so we ended up rebuilding the roof. We did a game rule style roof, a new one. We let everybody know what we were doing. And it came out to look nicer, but you know, we try to keep it generally in the same nature as it was before. That being said, it stayed empty, vacant, nobody's using it. And one of the people that rents from me, she works as a freelancer. She freelances, does administrative work, bookkeeping for various companies. She's basically, you know, she's a temp, a freelancer. So she's hired by certain companies to do bookkeeping, short period of time, but everything's on Zoom.
Okay, then I apologize. I thought that she was a staffing agency
No.
person. My
She
mistake.
provides that, she is the person that's freelancing. And so basically, she was trying to do things on her deck. There's a small deck off the second floor. She was trying to do it underneath a patio umbrella, and it's just not, it wasn't working. She has a few kids, it's tight, and so we said, hey, you know, if this would work, she was interested, so that's why we came in front of
So
the
it's
board.
not an independent agency, staffing agency
No,
that she owns?
no.
She works through a staffing agency?
Correct, she's a freelancer herself. She does all bookkeeping, administrative work for other companies of that nature. She's always on Zoom, working on a computer. She has a few computers, a printer for herself, you know.
I think that actually functions better, so I appreciate that you
Yes.
describing the description accurately.
She's looking for peace and quiet to do her job.
Right, exactly. All right, and she understands, you've talked to her about this, and that there is to be no visitors and no business activity, no signage of anything of that nature.
Correct, no signs, no
No
visitors,
visitors.
just her.
And no employees, by the way, as Mr. Paparazzi pointed
Correct,
out.
correct, there would be no employees.
So she's a freelancer. I think that's a good description. Okay. With respect to the permit, you went through the normal process with
Yes.
the Paterson Building Department,
Correct,
and they gave you a final closure on that permit?
I believe so.
Okay. All right, so your work was done and?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so that's all I have, subject to any questions Mr. Paparazzi and the commissioners may have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Alimi, the third meter on the house, could you put that on the record?
Okay, so when we bought the house, there was 3 meters, and that 1 meter fed the basement and the garage, and we just kept it because I didn't want to redo all the electric, so that's why it's 3 meters.
Okay, so the basement was never lived in?
No, no. But again, that's, I mean, and the hallway going up to the second floor, so lights going, you know, the common hallway going to the second floor, those lights, the basement and the garage. That's how it was purchased, and we just never messed with it.
Okay, so, well, let me ask you then, who pays that public service bill?
I do, because it's a common area.
Well, the garage is not.
It's not, but it's part of it, so, you know, it falls under me.
Okay. When you took out your permit to repair the roof, did the permit also say that you were going to enlarge the size of the roof, the second floor?
You know, it's over 2 years ago. I remember I told them we were going to rebuild the roof because I took pictures and showed them the inside, how it had all decayed. And we drew up a sketch. And I mean, I don't remember exactly if we said how high or whatnot. I just wanted to make something so it looks nice and we don't have an issue with water and snow in the winter.
Does that business the tenant has, what is the name of the business? Is there a name or?
I don't think there's a name. She's just a freelancer. Like I said, she freelance, does bookkeeping for various companies through her computer or whatnot, scans stuff in, and some other administrative work.
How does she advertise?
I don't think she advertises. I don't know.
How does she get clients?
I don't know. Maybe she uses a temp service to get her the work.
Maybe that's where I got the reference to
Okay.
temporary.
Yeah, I mean,
The,
as of now, she functions out of the apartment, and there are no visitors going. But like I said, again, the apartment's tight. She has 3 kids, and she needs some space to do the work that she does. And because of COVID, obviously her offices were closed, and now going forward, she wants to continue to do that, work close to home, and off the computer because we can now.
So, question, I have a question.
Yes.
Commissioner, let me just
I'm
finish.
sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
let me just finish. I have a few more things.
Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Alimi, when did you purchase the house? Survey says March 18, 2020. Would that be,
No, that's when the survey was done. I most likely, I think I purchased it back in 2018.
and,
No, that's when the survey was done.
and taxes and sewer charges are current?
Yes, yes.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Alimi. Sorry, Commissioner.
Sherman, I have a question. She's a freelancer, so she has, she's her own business. Is that, or she works for a different company?
Well, I believe the way she gets to work, she works with a temp service, and a temp service gives her, clients that she does the bookkeeping for, and everything's done online.
Now, the reason I ask is because if she's has her own business, there's got to be a time where she has to meet somebody at the office, or situation could occur. And, I know we're in the pandemic, but that is going to be over. And, we're talking about an area where no businesses are permitted. And if we're going to have traffic of people coming in and out, that's the only reason why I'm asking the question.
We stipulate no traffic whatsoever. This type of work, we believe can and is often done without the necessity of in-person contact, and if on a rare occasion perhaps, and again, we're only speculating, this person needed to go out to meet a person she does services for, I'm sure that could be done off-site, but.
Correct, it would.
Again, I use the term temporary staffing agency. That's where she receives her work from, so I apologize for not describing that accurately.
Thank you.
Could I add to that?
I have a question.
Yes.
I understand, I just want to get clarity. Everyone's mentioning business. Now, I personally, from our office where I work, I was given a computer and I do my work, finances. So is that more like what she's doing? Because you're saying she's receiving work, because then I don't consider that a business. I consider that you're working from home. Like, I don't have traffic home.
Right.
I do my work, I call, we have webcam meetings. Is that more like what she's doing, or she's actually running a business?
No, she's
That's
actually doing.
what I
She's
want
actually doing
clarity.
exactly what you
Exactly what you
described.
said. She's doing the financing, bookkeeping.
That's
Okay.
why we're characterizing.
So she's just working from home?
Correct.
It's not a business per se?
No.
There's no promotional element to it, there's no signage.
No.
That's why the term business is really not an accurate description.
That's, okay. So she's just working from home and she needs office space to do whatever she needs
It's
to
a
do?
home office, which in a detached building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I have my printer home,
Yeah.
whatever is needed, I print and I take it to the office, and so on and so forth. So is that more like what she's doing?
Yes, that's exactly.
Exactly.
Okay.
How is this person gonna see her clients?
There'll be no seeing of clients.
No.
What's in the garage right now? It's just an open space, closed door. They don't keep any cars in there.
There's 2 cars, yes, in the garage.
So what's gonna happen with the cars?
They're still going to be there. The steps would be in the back, and it wouldn't impede those two cars.
Those 2 cars are part of our parking, what we're providing on site as per our plan.
Is this a business or she works for somebody? Is she gonna be working from home? Because something is not right here. I don't think we are all on the same page. Is she working from home or this is gonna be the business?
I don't know how else to describe it other than what we've described it as. Strictly a person who would like to reside in one of the units and utilize that structure which is on her property that she rents from to operate, to do her work, her home office work. So not an independent business. The freelancing concept is a great description in my opinion. She receives work and the work goes in and out strictly by technology.
And she has 3 kids, right?
3 kids, yes.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So we're all talking about you know, if this person's gonna be working in this location here. Obviously, she's gonna use it as an 8 to 4 location, correct?
Correct.
Okay, for me, that's considered, you know, a job location. Now, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Commissioner, regarding, you know, office work.
Did you say an 8 to 4 location? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yes,
8 to 4? We don't know what hours she's going to actually be functioning there. I mean, she could very well be there for certain hours of the day, but it's not a fixed job where she punches a clock.
Mr. Maricondo, is she here for testimony?
No.
okay. That was just my main concern. I mean, you know, it's still, somebody or something is gonna be happening. We could approve it, I mean, but we don't know what's gonna go on later on a garage.
Again, the zoning board has the jurisdiction for the site plan and variance approvals, and as we've talked many times with your planner and your council, the enforcement element of the approval conditions are within the jurisdiction of the Department of Community Affairs. If someone were to violate an approval condition, it would be incumbent upon that enforcement element of the city to address that. And certainly, Mr. Alimi, as an experienced Paterson resident for many years and an experienced Paterson businessman to this day, understands what conditions mean in a zoning approval. So we ask you to take that into account when considering the credibility of him as a witness and also his obligation to make sure that if an approval is granted with a condition, that condition is adhered to.
The only concern is, and his credibility is great, the actual individual who is going to be functioning in this use is not here to acknowledge those conditions under oath and indicate under oath what the operation is. I mean, it's a little different, though.
No, sure. But again, he, as the owner of the property, has the obligation, who's the one who sought the application approval, to make sure that that's insured and take, not insured, to assure that that obligation is met.
Yeah, but Mr. Maricondo, the enforcement in Paterson is not like up to par. So it's hard without the actual business owner or tenant being here. I mean, we could take that into consideration just to protect the city, but, you know, it is a little bit of a stretch, and I was hoping that this information that Mr. Alimi was putting on record could come on record from the ultimate user of the garage building, you know, but...
We did not come tonight with that presentation from anyone else. Again, I understand your point completely. I think that I hope the board would consider that this applicant has sufficient experience with managing property and tenants to make sure that any condition would be adhered to strictly. And again, the City Enforcement Division is actually very busy. It's very active again, and it's very aggressive right now in terms of code and zoning enforcement again.
Chairman, I have a question for the applicant.
Moves in that doesn't need the office space, then it would be not used. It would not be utilized at all.
Okay. Gary, can we put any restriction or condition saying they cannot convert it into additional apartments or
Yes, Commissioner.
or ever make a full bathroom and kitchen?
You can, just to protect the city, if, that was going to be my recommendation, if the employees, no employees or visitors to the site, it's supposed to be used as a home office with just one person. And all the other home office restrictions that would apply if this application was to be approved. So there are a few things that you would take into consideration if you vote to approve the application.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question for Gary. May I please proceed? Any negative impact on this application?
Well, Commissioner Furman, it is a use application, so it does require 5 affirmative votes to pass. One of the negatives is the building is already done. It's built, and 4 variances went with the construction. 4 out of the 6. So if you do, a vote to approve the application, it would have to be with that stipulation. So if there's ever a complaint from a neighbor that, let's say, there's traffic going in and out for like a business, that you would have, one, no full bathroom, no kitchen, no addition to that proposed room. So if there is a complaint, at least the city has some jurisdiction. So those are your negatives, Commissioner. But one of the problems is it's done, it's built.
Thank you so much.
Again, but the applicant is before this board seeking the approval for the relief
Yes,
that was
yes.
created. He took that initiative on his own. We know that this board understands that the application has to be decided on the merits of those reliefs that are sought.
Yes, yes.
But,
I didn't finish yet.
oh, go ahead.
Thank you so much, and I'm very satisfied with your answer. Thank you.
That's really not our problem, because when the building department went out to make the final inspection, I'm almost sure that they gave, do you have a CO for that?
There would not normally be a separate CO for this kind of repair and new structure to make it safe, but permit process was undertaken and completed. He's testified under oath.
But was there a final inspection?
Yes, he did
And
indicate
they
that.
didn't catch it? The building department didn't catch it?
So for this, they came in and did a framing inspection of the whole structure that we built and the roofing, and that was it. Inside is unfinished, so there's no plumbing, there's no electric, there's no nothing in there.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But
So there would be no final, it's just that closeout, hey, we saw the framing structure is up, it's satisfied, it was rebuilt.
And there is no CO required for a roof
No,
repair?
no, there wouldn't be a CO, no.
all right.
Mr. Chairman, just want to ask a question. Was there, so you said there was an approval of framing, correct? You have an approval on file?
Yes, he went through the normal building department processes to repair the damaged condition of the structure above the garage, and the building department reviewed the framing work that he did to make it a safe, secure structure, and they closed out that framing permit.
So since there was framing, there was also electrical, correct?
No electrical.
So there's no light
At
in the
this
building?
time.
So just to be clear, inside, in that structure right there, there's no electrical, there's no plumbing, there's no nothing. It's just open frame, no insulation, nothing, everything's unfinished.
Right. So the building department work
And
was
that's-
undertaken just for that limited purpose.
Because the thing was caving in.
Okay, so
So-
there had to be
We know that we
emergency.
need this board's approval before we go for those kind of permits.
Correct, there's nothing here, it's unfinished space, there's not even stairs to go upstairs. There's nothing, it's just open attic space, nothing in there. That's why we're here to ask for approval.
No more questions.
At this time, if any members of the public have questions of the applicant with regard to his testimony, or if they have any comments that they'd like to make with regard to this application, please call area code 973-321-1579 and either enter meeting ID number 711-680-0001. Once again, the phone number is 973-321-1579, meeting ID number 711-680-001. Let's give it a moment, see if anybody calls. We have no calls.
Thank you. Mr. Maricondo, could you sum up, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make it very brief in this matter. I believe the board has really given this application a very thorough review. We appreciate that. We had the opportunity to present our professional and our applicant. We believe the testimony is very concise and very clear about the limited nature and scope of what we're looking for relief here. The applicant took the necessary steps that he had to with the building department. He's very experienced in that regard. This is a very limited service as we've described it. It will stay that way, and if it's not, that's a condition that the applicant must live with. That condition is very limited, okay? And again, so we believe that the ability to have someone who's a resident who wants to earn some income with regard to limited internal office work within their own property dimensions, I think it's an important opportunity for that person. And the applicant is here trying to accommodate that limited use. And we ask the board's consideration for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Maricondo, I think in the future, it would probably be best if the ultimate user of a business now would come so that it could be put on the record officially.
Yeah, again, it was such a small scope of business, but I certainly agree with you.
Okay. Commissioners, just again, it's a use variance, so 5 affirmative votes are required. If the board votes to approve the application, it should be with the restrictions in the resolution that it's only a half bathroom, there's no kitchen, that the ultimate user follow all the home office regulations in the R2 zone, and if that tenant should ever leave, no other business other than what you have talked about tonight can be allowed into that room, where there are no employees, no clients, no traffic. Okay, so if the board does vote to approve it, it would be with those restrictions, and in the resolution, at least there'd be some protection for the city. Thank you.
At this point, can I get a motion, please?
Commissioner Furman. I'd like to make the first motion, and for the record, I would like to make a comment. Is that okay, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Somebody trying to make a living, 3 kids, the world that we're living today, they doing it by the book, under the condition made by our planner. I'm a family person. My vote is yes.
I'll second it.
With regard to the motion, well, let me ask you a question, Commissioner Furman. Was your motion with the conditions, or any of the conditions that Mr. Paparozzi outlined?
That is correct.
All of them?
All the conditions that was made by our planner.
Can you please just put them on the record, Mr. Paparozzi?
Yes, that the bathroom upstairs only be a half bathroom, no tub or shower installed, no kitchen installed, all the home office requirements in the R2 zone be adhered to. If the tenant should ever leave, any use of that office space would be restricted to the same use that it is discussed tonight, and that the ultimate user is bound by those restrictions, even though she's not here tonight. Right. So those were the conditions that I suggested for the board.
Gary, I think you also mentioned no visitors, which is part of the R2 conditions, right?
Right, yes. That's part of the home office requirements in the R2 zone, yes.
All right, so Commissioners, there's a motion to approve that was made by Commissioner Furman and seconded by Chairman Thaxton. And Chairman, your second was with regard to the motion with the conditions, correct?
Yes.
And we've heard all the conditions as outlined by our planner, Mr. Paparozzi. With regard to that motion, I'm going to pull the board now. With regard to the motion to approve with the conditions, what is your vote, Commissioner Monaro?
My vote is yes, with the conditions.
Thank you. Commissioner Watkins?
My vote is yes as well with the conditions.
Thank you. Commissioner Rohim?
Yes, with the conditions.
Commissioner Baralt?
My vote is yes, exactly, with the conditions.
Commissioner Dumas?
Yes with the conditions.
Commissioner Furman? Commissioner, Chairman Thaxton?
Yes, with the conditions.
That's 7-0, it's an approval. Mr. Maracali, could you wait one moment before you leave?
Surely.
Commissioners, we also have a resolution to adopt this evening. This is for application of United Assets Management LLC for property located at 166-168 Third Avenue, also known as Block 2503, Lot 9 in the city of Paterson in the I-2 zone. Application to construct a two-story addition on top of the existing commercial storage. The application was heard on March 29, 2021. At the conclusion of the application, there was a motion by Commissioner Hodges for approval, which was seconded by Chairman Thaxton. The vote, so we know who was here and who voted, was 7 in favor, 0 against, and commissioners who voted in favor who are present this evening: Commissioner Dumas, Commissioner Furman, Commissioner Monado, Commissioner Rohim, and Chairman Thaxton. Will someone please move this resolution?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All right, I'm going to pull the board. Again, Commissioner Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Furman? Yes. Commissioner Rohim?
Yes.
Commissioner Monado?
Yes.
Chairman Thaxton? Yes. Thank you. And I have no other business.
Meeting's adjourned unless the commissioners have something to say.
Chairman, can I have a minute?
Go ahead.
I just want to thank everyone for the support and voting me as the new vice chairman. My phone is always open for all of you. I'll share my number. Anything we can do together to make this a better board and make the process more smoother. I know we've been through a lot of confusion, missing information and then last minute. As Commissioner Carino said, especially when it comes to the reports and the plan and the agenda, let's try to get them beginning of the week so we all have a time to review them, go to the properties, take a look, instead of just getting them the night before, where most of us, we have a full-time job, we have families, and sometimes we don't even have time to go look at those projects. So again, let's work together, with the attorney, with the planner, the secretary, and let's make things better.
We waiting for your phone number. Mr. Johan, we waiting for your phone number that you volunteered to give out.
Yes, I'll give it out, but once we go off live.
Okay. I think he left.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to allow me to speak. Councilman of the Third Ward, Alex Mendez. Good evening to all of you. Good evening, Paterson. I just want to take this moment to congratulate all the new commissioner that we have on board, Mr. Barrar, Mr. Vegas. I know they will do an outstanding job. And also, let me congratulate you, Mr. Chairman, for your nomination, also as Chairman and the Vice Chairman as well. I have a lot of hope on this board. And let me just say this. I came here tonight because this board is extremely important for the city of Paterson, and it's my hope that this board continue functioning as of tonight effectively and on top of all the projects that we have in the city of Paterson. I know in the past there was a lot of bad experience with this board, but that's part of the past, and I'm looking forward to see you all effective. My heart is broken right now because I don't see you with laptop. At the city council here, we bought thousands of laptops for the school district. Keeping in mind that the school district has over $500 million budget, and the administration didn't took the time to take care of the house. It's my hope that in the next meeting you get those laptops. That way you could receive the blueprint before the meeting. You could receive all the information before the meeting. That way you could make a informed decision. So it's definitely my hope, and I'm going to continue advocating on the next meeting to make sure that you get the technology that you need to make the decision that really is going to benefit the city of Paterson. So once again, congratulations, and thank you so very much. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to say something also. I want to thank you for the opportunity, to serve under this board. I hope, first of all, to get the plans before we sit here, because otherwise, what am I here for? Besides that, I want to, hopefully get to know everybody here in a personal note. So like that, we could, move forward the city and also make good decisions here, sitting here. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I also would like to thank everybody for trusting me with this position. It's a new thing for me, but I do believe that as a businessman in Paterson for over 30 years, the city has given me a lot, and I felt that I had to be able to reciprocate, do my best with this position, and in the better to improve in the approvals and the decisions to moving the construction and the projects forward. I take it very seriously, and I'm going to do my best to give back something to a city that has given me so much over the years as a businessman. Thank you.
If there's no other business in front of this board, the meeting's adjourned. Did you? Oh, okay.